guys, Nicole here from moderncosmic.com. I'm going to try and record this again. I have already recorded 5 minutes of this. I'm sorry, I have to apologize in advance. I think I'm playing with a cold or something. I'm just kind of a little bit foggy brain today, a little bit out of it and sniffly. So at any rate, I had to start over because I wasn't making much sense to myself. Okay, so we, of course, let's just do a little quick recap on last week. If you watched the forecast, the video that I did last week, I did talk about Wednesday with our new moon, our Scorpio new moon, and then Thursday and Friday being active days. And I mentioned that there was possibility for violence or unexpected events. I mentioned someone perhaps speaking out at a rally or speaking truth to power. And of course, we had the tragic terrorist attacks in both Beirut on Thursday and then in Paris on Friday by ISIS. Sadly, this organization, or this sort of self-proclaimed, I suppose, religious, they consider themselves even a religion, like they've claimed the caliphate, that they are the authority and the mouthpiece for the Islamic religion, which is really sad and is also a hijacking of sorts. So at any rate, I was not happy, obviously, to see those things happen, but also not surprised after looking at the astrology. And frankly, I was surprised. I listened to quite a few different astrologers, both on YouTube and on a few different podcasts, and none of them talked about this. So when I was doing the forecasting, I remember thinking, I wonder why no one's mentioning this, because it seemed pretty clear that there was going to be some unexpected, startling, violent, it's all the Scorpio energy too. This whole, speaking truth to power, yes, and war, and life and death. These are all sort of Scorpio themes, and then with that Uranian energy, that quincunx, to me, that's just very unstable, and it's just like a boulder waiting to sort of roll off the hill. It just takes a little, or it's like a room full of gas and just needs a spark to set it on fire. It's a better metaphor. This week, of course, obviously, after a major event like this, there will be a lot of diplomatic activity. There will be a lot of analysis of what happened, what took place. This is a time for the world community to sort of come together and figure out what to do next to combat this organization. So with that in mind, of course, as I'm doing the forecast, I was looking at things through the lens of current events, but also, I don't want this whole podcast to be just about foreign affairs or current events, or so I will touch upon those things because there are some big themes this week, and it's going to be social media, or however you communicate with people around the world, which is probably through social media. That's where you get a lot of your news from. You'll be hearing about these themes. So it's kind of interesting to watch how the days sort of unfolded, over the course of this next week. So let's get into the forecast. So first of all, we're going to talk about the transits that will be happening during the whole week, okay? We've got Sun, Uranus, quincunx, which we've had, and it's actually separating right now. So the Sun is in Scorpio, and we've got Uranus and Aries, as it has been for quite a long time. Scorpio and Aries are both, remember, these are Scorpio traditionally is ruled by Mars, and these are both, and of course Aries is ruled by Mars. They're both the signs. If you were to say of the 12 zodiac signs, which ones would you think of when you thought of war or battle? It would be these two. So when you've got them, Sun, it to me is Sun to Uranus is very electrified. Okay, it's sort of like it's unstable, as I said, and so that will continue. But because it's separating now, to me, it's referring to something that has already happened. Okay, which clearly, as far as current events go, yes. But this is still going to be sort of this uncertainty in the air, I suppose. Okay, we've got also Sun-Pluto sextile. We've got that Scorpio Sun, and we've got our Pluto and Capricorn, as it has been. Scorpio Sun is just like last week, Scorpio has to do with transformation and power and rebirth, and it's the phoenix rising out of the ashes. And Capricorn has to do with creating something in the world of form. Capricorn, especially when you've got Pluto in Capricorn. Now, Pluto rules Scorpio, okay? So our Scorpio Sun is being informed by this Pluto and Capricorn. So this to me is why I was talking about big organizations and those who have power doing some sort of a dance with one another. So this is going to be losing strength because as our Sun is moving out of Scorpio. Sun's in Scorpio, Chiron is in Pisces. Now, Chiron, of course, is our asteroid. Chiron in astrology shows us where the wound is at. Especially when we're looking sort of at transits. A lot of times you'll notice if Chiron makes aspects to your moon in your personal, in your personal transits, or aspects to your sun even. These can be times when we have an old wound come up. It can be kind of painful or sad, or times that we just, I don't know, it's been my experience with it anyway. It's been something that's been a challenging transit when it moves and makes aspects to the moon especially. So when you look at this sort of on the world stage, this tells us that there is a wound that, and it's in Pisces, okay? So Pisces is about healing, and it's quite spiritual. So to me, this is sort of this idea that there's been a wound, and that the world will come together to heal this wound, these kinds of energies. And look at where it falls in your chart to see how the wound or how this particular transit may be affecting your chart. We also have a Jupiter-Uranus quincunx. Jupiter's in Virgo. This is details, analysis, breaking something down. And then Uranus in Aries, which is like taking action, because I'm thinking of Aries, but like without looking, really leaping without looking. It's this revolutionary, just bold, just doing it. Combine think of like a lightning storm, how the lightning bolts hit just wherever, you don't know where they're going to hit, right? And then you mix that with Aries, this Aries sort of taking action aggressively. It's kind of like doing something without really paying attention to what you're doing. And when you put that into like this quincunx of Jupiter in Virgo, which is all about details, to me, this is a lot of people jumping the gun a little bit or taking action without knowing all the details. Jupiter can be a little overly optimistic. You put it in Virgo. Jupiter is not really totally loving Virgo. Virgo is about the details and the work and the duty. And so to me, this combination is just details being overlooked. And it's people also then you look at our Saturn and Sagittarius, which Jupiter rules Sag. So these two things are talking to each other. People are a little sanctimonious and thinking that they have all the answers and self-righteous and like, well, this is the solution. Or it's like Donald Trump when he gets up and says, we should bomb the shit out of him or whatever he said. I mean, it's just Donald Trump. His chart's fascinating, by the way. But it's this kind of rhetoric. It's people sort of just thinking they have all the answers without really looking at the details and moving from a place of personal hubris, sort of, okay? So that's going to be definitely a continued theme. It's not anything new. Another big, really important transit this week. We've got our Saturn-Neptune square. They're moving into position to be really squaring each other. I think it's like 5-degree Saturn, 7-degree Neptune. Okay. Now, this Saturn that we have right now, I like this Saturn, but it can be a little bit of. Think of when you go to church and you have your preacher gets up or whatever, and they're just sort of droning on, just the pedantic nature, that quality. Okay, so there's a little bit of this, and with that comes this sort of self-righteous, like I've looked to the past and I know all the answers, and this is what it should be, okay? So you have a little bit of that happening, and then it's being squared by Neptune, and Neptune in Pisces. Pisces is the sign of Neptune, so it is ruled by Neptune rather. So they're going to have a little bit of people on their high horses, okay? Definitely religious, spiritual. I'm actually interested to see dogma. So it's going to be dogma, which would be Saturn, Sagittarius versus the spiritual. You'll see that. You will see. I made a little list because I was thinking. Yeah, religious types versus intuitive types, self-righteousness versus sort of soulful knowing, and maybe both parties being kind of wrong, like, and sort of trying to find a balance. Human tradition, looking to the past to inform the present versus this idea that time is a construct. So that would be more the Neptunian, timeless attitude versus Saturn is very much all about linear time and space. So, point being, these are these themes that we're working with, and they're sort of overall this overall climate that's happening right now in our world, and how it's going to be affecting you. So I did a whole video on looking to see where these fall in your chart, because you've got Saturn is the part in your chart that shows, well, wherever it's moving, it shows where you're going to be applying work and effort. And it can be a part of your life that's a little burdensome. And I mentioned like my house, having to fix things in my house or like keep up with housework, that kind of thing. And working, literally, I work from home, and Saturn is in my 4th house. So look in your chart, watch that video. I could put a link on here for you if I remember. So we've got, today's Sunday, as I'm filming this, it's the 15th. The moon is just about to move into Capricorn, which will be perfect for tomorrow, for Monday, right? Because moon in Capricorn, your mind is on business, it's on planning and preparing, and which is exactly sort of going to be the focus of at least leadership on the world stage tomorrow, if not this weekend already. But really, you know, big meetings and important phone calls and whatnot will be happening tomorrow. So anyway, so also today we got Mercury's Jupiter doing they've got a sextile, but it's separating. So it's also same thing. Mercury, of course, is communicating, and Jupiter makes things bigger. So it's a cooling down, or it's a lessening or a slowing down of communication. And that's today, Sunday. Okay, there's a Mercury-Uranus quincunx that's separating as well. There could be a few unexpected aftershocks of communication, but it's kind of a minor aspect, so not anything too serious to worry about for today, for Sunday. Mercury Chiron trine, which is also separating. This is painful revelations, but there's a quality of being sort of unsure how to communicate the message. So today on Sunday, there really is this overall, because you've got all these separating aspects, there's kind of this overall sense of waiting, or it's not quite time yet to make a big statement. I would not be surprised if tomorrow on Monday, Obama makes a larger, I know he made of course, he addressed the attacks, but I think there may be a larger statement that he releases, something perhaps more, I don't know, something, I don't know if it'll be on primetime news or just more of a plan. He's had the weekend to sort of put something together, and so look for that tomorrow. On Monday. Let's see, Venus-Mars conjunction is growing in strength. They're at a wide orb, so they're not quite yet, to me, within orb, the orbs that I use. I like to see really 3 degrees or less to really be feeling, especially with these quicker moving planets, to really be feeling or seeing them play out. Now, they're in Libra. Really interesting, this attack that happened over this last week. If you know the story of Paris, you know, Paris from mythology. So you have this young man who, the 3 goddesses, I think it was Hera and Aphrodite and Athena, come to Paris, and they have like a beauty contest, and he's supposed to pick which lady is the most lovely, and he has them take their clothes off, of course, and they're all equally majestic and beautiful, so he can't choose, he's not sure, and they all offer him different gifts, and of course Aphrodite offers him the love of Helen of Troy, right? Beautiful, most beautiful woman in the world. And so Paris takes her up on her offer and rejects the other 2 goddesses. Anyway, so there is when I think of the city Paris, I think of Venus. Aphrodite and Venus are the same goddess. So, I mean, of course, and Paris is a city that feels very Venusian, right? It's a beautiful city of art, and it's music and food and love. It's the lovers, city of lovers. So everything that was happening last week, our Venus that had moved into Libra, was kind of the one part of the overall picture of the sky that was a little different and out of place. And I mentioned that there could be sort of a surface, or putting lipstick on a pig, I think I said, because there's this element of shallowness to Venus. And I didn't even, of course, think about the city of Paris, but that is very interesting to me that was where one of these attacks happened, because it's, you know, and now we have the Facebook people putting their the flag, the French flag, you know, over their Facebook photo, but yet the Lebanese flag isn't an option. But it's really interesting to me that this, to me, is really surface. I didn't do it to my Facebook picture. If you did, that's fine, whatever. But to me, I want like a picture of humanity, not just, I want to support anyone and everyone who's lost someone for whatever reason, you know? And so, not to get into that controversy, but the point being, it's like people are, well, I did that to my profile picture. I've done my job, done my duty to support these people, you know? And I don't mean to be disrespectful or to shame anyone or anything like that, but do you see what I'm saying? It's a surface. You're displaying something to the world, which is Venusian, that's Venus, a display. It's an act that is surface. It's your identity on Facebook would be your little avatar, your picture. So changing that, that's Venusian. So enough of that. Okay. Now, what else do we have? We've got Venus, Neptune, quincunx. So Venus is in Libra, Neptune's in Pisces. These two zodiac signs are very much about peace. So remember we said Scorpio and Aries are very much about war. Venus and Pisces both have this quality of harmonizing and bringing together disparate elements or people or, etc. So when they're in a quincunx with one another, this to me is a time of coming together for reasons of peace. Venus and Neptune both also, what's also interesting, Venus rules Libra, Neptune rules Pisces. So these are both very pure versions of Venus, or it's a pure version of Venus. It's like a pure version of Neptune, if that makes any sense. So this really is the planet that has to do with pleasure as well, the planet that has to do with, and then the planet that has to do with the otherworldly or escape. So you could see also a lot this week people escaping. So escaping the sort of tensions that are happening in the world through pleasurable activities. And it's funny because I have seen also on Facebook that my feed has been war or the tragedies that happened last week and then people partying. It's like these two things are the two that's like taking up my Facebook feed. So at any rate, the good news is, having that sort of softens the other things that are happening and hopefully, we'll see. I'll get to that later. Okay, now next we've got Mars. So Mars, like I said, Mars is not making any aspects this week other than to the moon as the moon moves through the sky. So to me, this is a period of time where Mars is not really activated, okay? So even if Mars comes through your chart and makes a conjunction or a square or a trine or it's activating something in your chart, that's great. But without a third planet, it's sort of a waiting period in my mind. Now, I will say this, the moon each day, and this is typical, the moon, moves very quickly, so it makes a lot of aspects as it moves through the sky. But the moon, there's going to be a lot of emotional response this week, okay? A lot of rhetoric, a lot of talk. So we'll get into details on that. So also with Mars, so Mars is gearing up to be making some major aspects as it moves through Libra. Mars is going to kind of hit everything. You've got, of course, it's going to be conjoined with Venus. But then you've got our Saturn that's in Sagittarius, that little sextile. You've got our Pluto, our Uranus, which are both in cardinal signs. It's going to be opposing Uranus and it's going to be squaring Pluto. So those are really, this is Mars. This is taking actions. This is could be a shitstorm. This is it'd be interesting to see. Thanksgiving week is really an interesting one. If you like to study transits, take a look at Thanksgiving week. And also March. March is a month that has me a little bit concerned as far as the world stage goes. But remember, everything that happens on the outside, as without, so within, in our world scene, you see these sort of tumultuous times on the world stage, it's also reflected in our personal lives, even if it's completely indirectly, they're not related to one another, but it's just the times, it's the climate, okay? The emotional climate. So with Mars right now making no aspects, this really, like I said, this could be a week where it could be a little bit more reactive, a little bit more emotionally instinctive and just this response, but it's more emotional. It's not about like taking action and doing things with it, okay? So that's why I'm saying there might be a lot of kind of talking about things or rhetoric or, we should do this, and people kind of like getting up in arms, but it's kind of like all on social media. This whole Venus Libra thing too, it's just kind of more of a show, or it's like Donald Trump, like what I said, how he got up and said, bomb the shit out of him, it's just this, really, you're really gonna, that's really the plan, that's your plan, that's your strategy, it's just kind of to fire people up, okay? So we'll see a lot of that this week, okay? Let's see, and in particular, I actually kind of went through, I just mentioned, so in Capricorn, there's the moon will be in Capricorn, and Mars will be making aspects, of course, to Capricorn because they are both cardinal signs. So the square will bring out that sanctimonious language that can even be kind of condescending. It can be quite sort of self-righteous because, of course, this is being fed by or informed by that Saturn that's in Sagittarius. So a little bit of, I know I'm holier than thou, I know better than you, religion, big time, religious folks who have an opinion, they're letting you know what they think. And then we've got the moon move into Aquarius, and Aquarius trines Libra. We'll talk about that when we get onto those days, but that will look like probably humanitarian discussions, I can imagine. And I think it's going to be when kind of people from the left who perhaps they could be the people who are supportive of Islam, the peaceful people, of Islam that are misunderstood. You could see some interesting articles about Beirut and why France has been on the forefront of social media in people's minds. But you don't have an option to select the Lebanese flag for your Facebook avatar. Why is that? So you might hear something about that a little later this week, but I'll get to that in a second. And then, of course, it moves into Pisces. And so, in Pisces, Mars is in Libra, and they're quincunxing each other. So it's kind of a peaceful, might just be tired. And that's the end of the week. That's like Saturday. So people just might be a little tired and a little bit, it'll quiet down by then on the social media and whatnot, I'm imagining. So day the 16th, we've got a busy day. The moon moves into Capricorn. We've got a Sun-Mercury. The Sun-Mercury conjunction is exact. So definitely a day for a lot of discussions and meetings and planning and even discussing sort of agreements because, of course, all this Libra energy, we've got our Mars at 1 degree of Libra, and that Capricorn moon will be squaring that Mars. So I keep thinking of the word peace accords or the word accord when I think of Libra. Even Mars and Libra, I think of sort of peace accords. I also think of the love of war, which is a different topic. But at any rate, so on Monday, Sun-Mercury conjunction is a time where there's a lot of communication going on. In my mind, it's going to be rhetoric, politicians, diplomats, diplomatic discussion, analysis with the Jupiter Virgo that we have happening as well. And then we've got Sun-Jupiter sextile, which is you've got the Scorpio Sun, you've got this Virgo Jupiter. This is like powerful entities working with analysts, straight up trying to solve this problem, trying to come up with some solutions. And like I said earlier, I do believe the president will make an announcement of some kind on the news, or it'll be filmed, something not necessarily a written statement, but something that's him speaking. We've got Venus, Saturn sextile. Let's see, with our Venus, she's at 8, Saturn is about 5. So they're talking to one another. And diplomatic strategies to me is also very much about this love of rhetoric, enjoying hearing yourself speak. So, and it's, again, opinionated and self-righteous and sort of like it knows best. But this is a nice transit for diplomats who are having to sort of bring together people that are maybe on different sides. So I really do see all of the countries kind of coming together, perhaps in Europe, of course, and also those countries in the Middle East that are equally afraid of what ISIS might do to their part of the world. I can kind of see everybody sort of coming together to discuss how to fight this. Now, you personally in your life, Venus, Saturn sextile can just be a time where, Libra and Sagittarius are, yes, Libra's relationships, but Libra's also a zodiac sign that has to do with sort of finding harmony in things, finding beauty in things. It can be a little bit surface, a little bit shallow. So it can be maybe like something as simple as, I don't know, look at where it falls for you to know for sure. But for example, with mine, I've been doing little things around my house, fixing up my house. Venus is beauty and pleasure, and it could be sort of, instead of just whole hog going and enjoying life, it can be sort of focusing on the finer pleasures and the things, cutting out the things you don't need and just focusing on the things that you're really enjoying. Now we've got Venus, Neptune, quincunx as well. I've talked about this a little bit. So this is peaceful, but it's because it's this Pisces Neptune, and it's Neptune in general. It could be a little bit of we want peace, but we're not quite sure how to get there. But let's collaborate, let's work together, let's come together. Everyone come together. There's a oneness happening here at this, which is nice for these diplomatic talks that are most definitely happening right now. Great for the unions, but there can be issues with ulterior motives or with hidden motives, just things that haven't been resolved or haven't been talked about. And yeah, this kind of makes me think of, you know, when larger countries will provide arms for smaller countries, even though at one point in time they were enemies, but now we're both fighting a common enemy. Okay, so this is kind of what this makes me think of. It's like, okay, let's be friends now, and it's a little bit of a shaky bedrock that you're building your house upon, kind of a thing. Okay, sandy ground. At any rate, okay. In your personal life, Venus, Neptune, quincunx is nice. It's, you know, this is a soft transit. If you are a cardinal sign or a mutable sign on your Venus, for example, you need to be in the earlier degrees of Venus. Then this could be something that's romantic for you this week, I suppose. Okay, Tuesday the 17th, we've got the Sun-Mercury conjunction is separating now. Now, you've got the moon, you have the moon in Capricorn. This could be, again, this continued meetings, continued sort of coming together, but there's this element to this because this is the Scorpio Sun of it being private, behind closed doors, and a lot of things won't come out until later. So, yeah, I mean, as you would expect, I suppose, with government, but even more so. There's probably a lot more happening behind the scenes than we even realize. Also, with corporations and companies, you know, this is a time as well where they will also be doing some things behind closed doors. We might have some interesting news come out that some exposures of some private communications that happened that weren't the most honest dealings, I suppose. It's a time where people kind of want to keep their agendas hidden. We've got our Sun-Moon sextile, Sun in Scorp, Moon in Capricorn. Again, we talked about this before. This is those larger organizations. That's going to be our both Scorpio and Capricorn. Actually, Scorpio suggests powerful. The Sun, if we're just talking about an entity or an organization or a group or an event of powerful people or powerful. A group that has large, powerful resources. Scorpio rules nuclear bombs, and so, you know, makes me think of big world leaders. And then Capricorn, Moon in Capricorn, is all business, and so it's meetings, and it's sitting and planning and structuring and figuring out. The thing is, it's the moon, so the moon is, you know, more reactive. The moon reflects light, right? So it's sort of like, okay, we need to respond and react to this, and what are we going to do? So having that Sun conjunct Mercury, like I said, with it being exact on Monday, that's why I suspect the President of the United States will make a statement of some kind, and also presidents perhaps or leaders of other countries as well in Europe and whatnot will perhaps make, I wouldn't be surprised if they make a joint collaborative statement together, like a big press conference or something. I'm curious, we'll see, Monday or Tuesday. More than likely Monday, though. Now, also, okay, so we've got, let's see what else. We've got Moon, Mercury, sextile. So this day, the moon takes a bunch of hits. Okay, it's doing lots of stuff. Moon, Mercury, sextile, so this is combining emotion and communication. So this is definitely emotional conversations. And, you know, it's a Capricorn, or Capricorn moon and a Scorpio Mercury. So this is private, powerful, conversations, and these are some power, some ego trips, some power struggles and ego trips during Monday and Tuesday in the boardroom. So, and then also we've got Moon Mars square. That is quite how do you say, yeah, it's very much reactive. You know, I didn't look at the exact time this was going to be happening. I should have, my bad. But hopefully it's like in the middle of the night or something. Might affect those of us who are cardinal signs, if it's, you know, whichever degree it's in. You have to be in the early degrees because, you know, that's where our Mars is at. It's at 1 degree of Libra. So maybe if it's at nighttime, let's hope. Then it's just that as far as it not affecting people doing stupid things decision-wise during the day, during the business day. But at night it might make it hard for some of us to sleep. So there's that. Moon, Venus square. This is a time of emotional triggers. And it's a moon in Capricorn. So it's kind of to me more about let's get to work. Let's put pleasures aside right now. Let's like get down to work. And it can also be a little condescending. I can also imagine this being sort of like, oh, Pat, I know what's best in this situation. You know, some of that could be happening on social media, you know, things like that. So just interesting. Watch what's trending on social media, because that's always really fascinating when you compare it to the astrology, the transits. My dogs are going crazy right now. Jeez. Let's see, and then we've got a Moon-Jupiter trine, so that just increases the sort of emotional intensity, and it just increases the desire to just make things bigger, okay? The desire to respond is there. Moon-Uranus square, so that's kind of gives, again, that gives this like electrical, hair trigger, unexpected emotional, it's just an unpleasant emotional feeling. But you know, again, our moon is moving so quick, it's more of a passing mood, and it would have to also be affecting you and you know, where it lined up in your chart, okay? Moon-Neptune sextile, this is just having a vagueness or an unsureness about emotions, and then Moon-Pluto conjunction. So on top of all of this is kind of these over-the-top emotional responses. I'm going to look in a second after I get off this, and I'll make a note to see what time these are at. I'm just curious if they're in the day or, you know, they're happening at different times throughout the day, but I'll make a note. Now, what's important, the United States, we are a 13 degree, I believe a 13 degree sun, Cancer sun. So being a 13 degree Cancer sun, that's opposite, of course, Capricorn, moon in Capricorn. So when that moon, you know, comes to within, you know, 3 degrees or so, or but being opposite our sun, that can be a time when things happen. So it could be a little trigger. So I'm going to check out the times on the moon table, and I'll make some notes because I'm interested. I should have done that. But anyway, okay. So on to Wednesday. Also super important to note, I didn't note this, Neptune has been retrograde and is going direct on Thursday. So it's kind of like this holding pattern in my mind. Anytime you know, you've got Uranus also is retrograde, but it's this sort of, because Mars isn't making any direct aspects to the big major players, it's just the moon that's kind of affecting the Mars a little bit, which to me is just more this, like I said, emotional mood, this kind of triggered, irritated emotional mood that kind of pops out. So there's a kind of a holding pattern. So Thursday, when Neptune goes direct, that'll be interesting. So we're in a holding pattern right now. Okay, so now on to Wednesday. Wednesday, we've got our moon has moved into Aquarius, and of course Aquarius is our fixed air sign, which is going to square our Scorpio sun. So Aquarius, the thing I like about Aquarius is, especially on the moon, especially when we just had something that was pretty traumatic happen to sort of the world collective consciousness, Aquarius is detached, and Aquarius has the ability to sort of take a step back and remove emotion from the situation and get a little bit more, okay, there's a humanitarian side of Aquarius that will want to do something to fix the problem, right? Take action, but in a way that's, you know, humanitarian. And there's also an innovative side to Aquarius, which I really appreciate because we really need some innovative solutions. Now, the one thing I worry about is Aquarius, well, it's kind of twofold. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is a little unpredictable, as we've been saying, right? So it does make me a little bit worried about any sort of unpredictable action being taken. When I looked at ISIS's chart, I just created a chart based on when they claimed, I think that's the proper verb, the caliphate, and when they, you know, they made an announcement. I just made the chart at noon. I'm not sure the exact time that that announcement was made or when they made the pronouncement that they were the mouthpiece for the, Islam. But on that particular day, it was the 29th, it was the first day of Ramadan last year. Their Venus actually was in, I believe, I want to say their Venus was in the first house, okay? And Venus in the first house, no, I'm wrong. Venus was in the 8th house. They had Mars in the first house, which makes perfect sense, right? My point being, they had several air signs. Their Mars, their Venus is in Gemini, I think, and their Mercury, I think, is also in Gemini, I want to say. And this moon is in Aquarius. So, you know, I mean, they definitely are celebrating. Like this Venus Libra energy and then Mars moving into Libra, they're celebrating everything that they've in their minds accomplished over this past week or so. So at any rate, I wouldn't be surprised if we heard from them Wednesday or Thursday. Now, moon, so we got the moon and the sun will be squaring one another. So like I said, this emotional detachment, which is good, but see, then you have it's Scorpio sun, which is this quite extreme energy, and then that moon in Aquarius, which is more detached, which could be good, or it could be sort of I'm hoping that's just people leaning towards being more humanitarian. That's my hope. And I'm hoping that this is a time when the leaders kind of come together and there's a friendly vibe sort of with the moon in Aquarius. There's kind of this, let's do this together, let's kind of collaborate, and then plus that moon's going to be happy with Venus and Mars. So I feel like Wednesday is going to be the day. That's why I keep thinking Peace Accords. Like Wednesday would be the day when some people collaborate. I'm just hoping that this isn't leading up to like World War III, rather that it's just sort of the world community coming together to eradicate this cancer. Known as terrorism, or ISIS or Islamic State or whatever it is that they're calling themselves these days. Okay, so now with that, we've got Moon, Mars, and then Venus trining. So Moon's trining Mars, and Moon's then going to trine Venus. And these, again, the Aquarius is humanitarian, and it's friendship, and it's the collective, and Libra is collaboration and coming together in harmony. So I like this for diplomatic talks. I like this also for diplomatic activists. It's very much focused, it'll be more focused on peace. And it's also, you're going to probably see people on Wednesday or Thursday talking about why do we have borders? Why are issues of border control be big time issues? Syrian refugees, this might be people talking about, I know Obama just recently upped the Syrian refugee number that would be allowed to come into the U.S. to 10,000 from before, I think it was below 2,000. So, there are millions of people displaced, but at least, we're helping some of them. And there are a lot of people that are they don't want the refugees to be coming here to the United States because they're worried about, terrorists. So this is going to be probably in our news feeds Wednesday and Thursday, would be my guess. And we got Moon, Mercury square. Now, this is one where Moon Aquarius, Mercury Scorp, in this it's words, and it could be sort of activists outing someone maybe. Is what I can actually see happening with this, or it could be what I'm talking about right now. Activists sort of calling people to the carpet, or it could be like come to Jesus moment. I say that, like not as a pun on words, but there could be this sort of people speaking up on behalf of like a group of the collective that's being ignored, and so this desire to help defend freedoms of others, and then also this us-them thing that happens, as just being part of the human race. There's very much us-them, and kind of this conversation about why can't we just all come together and realize we're all just human, we all put our pants on one leg at a time or whatever, I don't know, or our robes or whatever we wear. It's horrible. Okay, so it's also going to be the day, in my mind, that we could hear from ISIS. So I would not be surprised if they came out with a polished, well-produced bit of propaganda, video, something that they have put together, photographs, whatever, that they will release perhaps on Wednesday or Thursday. So we'll wait and see. Moon, Uranus sextile, so that's that collective humanitarian kind of emotional response. Uranus rules Aquarius, which is where the moon is. So this is very much kind of this grassroots, just not the people in power, it's like the people, okay, emotionally feeling like stimulated to sort of respond, because we're combining this Uranus moon sextile with the other things that are happening that day, which would include that Mercury moon, okay? Moon Saturn sextile, that's a little bit more pedantic. Saturn is, of course, in Sagittarius, moon is in Aquarius. These two are both like, if you're to think about it's like the humanitarian and the religious leader, put them together, so it is pedantic, and it is speaking out. We could see religious leaders speaking out. And then the moon Jupiter quincunx, which is, this is more of kind of an expansion of the emotional climate, and it's analysis, because this is Jupiter is in Virgo, so it's really looking at details, and it could even be overlooking details, okay? So this is why I'm saying this week there's going to be a lot of people just speaking off the cuff, their opinion, really opinionated stuff happening, and some of it's going to be just half-cocked and just it's a in the United States, we have leaders running to in the campaigning to be the next leader of the United States. So a lot of these oh my gosh, I can't talk. These candidates will feel the pressure to and the need to obviously make a statement of some kind. So should be pretty interesting and entertaining this week. Okay, Thursday the 19th, we've got Sun in Scorpio still, of course. It's at 26 degrees of Scorp, so it's wrapping up. Neptune will be going direct. This is our big thing that starts on Thursday. Neptune is in Pisces, so let's talk about that. Neptune, this is our planet that rules spirit. To me, Neptune is everything that's formless, so it's spiritual, but it's also at the same time like unconsciousness, like addiction or being drunk or drugged, and it's addiction, affliction, restriction. It's all these things that remove you from being in reality. So it's going direct, which is good, I suppose. The thing I worry about is it can bring with it this element of delusion, or, especially if it's making aspects to your sun or to your moon even, and with Isis, they're a Cancer sun. We are as well. They are also, they've got Gemini, which is mutable, on their Venus, I believe, and I think it's their Mercury. I could be wrong, but it's two of their personal planets. So, this Neptune will be squaring that. And I think that they're in early degrees, too, if I remember correctly. The Venus, at least, I'm pretty sure is. So it's in the 8th house from the chart that I created, which is perfect. It's like that love of war and love of rhetoric and good at communicating. They are good at communicating their message. They're very good at marketing. That's Venus for you. Okay, so anyway, enough of the current events. So in your personal life, look at where Neptune falls. Look if it makes aspects by square in particular, opposition, at 7 degrees, okay? Even look 5 degrees to like 9 degrees, or even 4 degrees to 10 degrees of those mutable signs or the water signs that will really be affecting you. If it's your moon, this could be a time where emotionally you could feel a little cloudy. It's a really good time for psychic gift. I mean, I've got look at your progressed moon as well. That's really important. Big time. Not progressed. Well, progressed moon is important, but look at your solar return moon. That's really, really fascinating to look at that solar return moon. Mine is in Pisces this year, and I'm an Aries moon, and it has definitely been just this weird, Pisces moon for me is really difficult. I feel challenged, emotionally retarded right now. Or sorry, that's not politically correct. Emotionally handicapped. Okay. Sorry if I'm being offensive. Okay, but anyway, look at where your solar return moon is at, and if it's making aspects to this Neptune, or if it's making aspects to just these big transits that are happening, you'll feel these things emotionally. You'll feel unsettled. You'll feel just you don't know. I feel like I'm having an existential crisis like every day lately, and I'm like, what is going on with me, and can't wait till the end of the day, just like have a glass of wine so I just don't have to think about it anymore, okay? So, or feel it, actually. So, anyway, solar return moon is important. That's my end of my rant on that. What else on Thursday? We've got Sun, Mercury, Moon square. So that Sun-Mercury conjunction, even though it's separating, it will be squaring the moon that day. So that's definitely, you've got government, public opinion, they're differing. There's like truth seekers calling out the people that are in power, and it's also a time of kind of detachment for the fixed signs. You might notice that with that Aquarius moon a bit. What else? Sun-Mercury conjunction, which is separating, but it's still within orbs. So it's been kind of happening during the whole week. It's a peace talk thing. Again, something will have happened at this point, most likely. The diplomats will have spoken. Okay. Venus-Uranus opposition. This is approaching right now. Venus is in Libra, of course, and Uranus is in Aries. So to me, this could play out personally, just sort of escaping the intensity of what's happening in the world around us through pleasurable activities. In fact, I love listening to the astrology podcast. And on there, Chris Brennan is talking about the introduction of some video gaming. I can't remember if it was Nintendo, who the company is. Sorry, I'm not a gamer, but that are virtual reality games, and that's perfect because that's exactly what this Saturn and Sagittarius and this sort of very, very Neptunian Pisces Neptune, it's kind of how they would play with one another. So at any rate, this day in particular, on Thursday, you know, the Venus-Uranus opposition is kind of gearing up. It will be a time where people try to escape through pleasures, I imagine. But also Uranus is, you know, I mean, Uranus is it's this unexpected electrical. In transits, it plays out more like this sort of, you weren't expecting it to happen, okay? And it's in Aries, which has to do with the revolutionary actions. And so it's kind of like people, it could even be like the love of, gosh, because Mars and Uranus together is guns. So it's like the love of guns. Oh, that's probably what it is. Especially American, so I'm thinking of this through my pair of lens. This is going to be like gun lovers. Everybody get your guns. You need to have your guns because they're going to come for you. You got to have them guns ready to shoot them with. So that Thursday will be gun lover. Well, it's approaching. It's not an exact opposition yet, but it's warming up because you got like, what is it? Venus will be at 11 degrees and our Uranus is at 17, so it's kind of warming up, and it's also going to be squaring. Venus is going to be squaring. It's warming up to. It's actually squaring Pluto. So yeah, very much. I think we will see gun lovers. There'll be a talking. There'll be a talking on Thursday. Sorry, I just tease. I like guns. They're great. Venus, Neptune, quincunx separating. So this is people escaping into their little happy worlds. We talked about this earlier. So overall on this day, yeah, it's kind of a foggy, fuzzy, wuzzy day. You know, I mean, to me, I don't see a lot of major news on Thursday other than just kind of more of the same, okay? What else? Sun square. Oh, also important to note, the sun does square the U.S. moon. Our moon is an Aquarius moon. And then the moon is conjunct the moon as well, the United States moon. So, you know, just kind of like an intense day, but sort of like people escaping it through lots of glasses of wine at night, perhaps. I feel like it's this, you know, this is an intense week, but then also all this Venus and Neptune stuff that says, I just want to get in my bed under my covers and be cozy and comfortable and not think about this anymore, okay? Friday, sun is in Scorpio, and then, of course, still, it's at 27 degrees, and the moon moves into Pisces. So, moon and Pisces, this makes me think of naps. Whenever I think of moon and Pisces, I think of sleeping, or like cuddling, or just being emotionally in a warm bath, okay? So, to me, I feel like it's also Friday, the end of the week, kind of the perfect day for this. People will be tired, and I think that there will be a little bit of tiredness around the issue of like the current events happening, and emotionally, you know, it has a vibe to me of sort of withdraw and a release of energy. It could be some delusional, as far as just things we're hearing, you know, this moon is making this trine to Mercury as well. And so, or it's actually gearing up. I think that it's not an exact trine that's out of warp, but anyway, it's there. And so it could be some delusional, some conspiracy theories. Could be really big on Friday, okay? And let's see, we've got Sun and Mercury still are conjunct. So they're in the last kind of, where are we at? We got Merc's at 28. Mercury's 28, Sun's at 27. So they're definitely, you know, within orb. But of course, Mercury is separating. They're moving away from one another. And so to me, this is kind of like talks are still happening. But because of the Pisces moon, I feel like things will already been wrapped up by Friday. Okay, as far as the government or... And I just get the sense that Friday is not going to be a super productive day. Mars, Moon, and Venus are quincunx, and they're all in these peaceful signs, okay? So, and then you got Moon and Saturn are squaring each other. So that to me is kind of, it's this Pisces moon, so it's kind of like being unsure what to do next, or just kind of like, okay, let's just set this down for now. We're going to come back to this in a second, okay? So, this could apply in your life. You could kind of feel like, you just could feel tired on Friday, you know, or just ready for the weekend, ready to be done, TGIF, big time on Friday. There could also be a little bit of not a power vacuum so much, but just sort of, I feel like leadership on Friday is going to be a little bit lacking. And this could be the government, this could be in a business, you know, it could be just a little bit more of a peaceful vibe to it. And remember, Pisces is quite spiritual, so it could be people sort of going more inward and connecting with spirit and prayer, and it could also be they could have a prayer vigil of some kind on Friday. That's probably what will happen. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, prayer vigil. That makes perfect sense. That's Friday. I bet you anything that there will be some sort of an event. That will be a perfect day for it. With Moon and Pisces, people will be sort of turned more towards spiritual things, okay? And there's a tiredness there. Mercury Sun sextile, the north node of the moon. So this to me is also a time for, it's a world axis, so it's like the time for talks or the world kind of coming together. Mercury Sun, it's sort of, it's the beginning of the week, you know, we had Mercury coming conjunct the Sun exactly, and it's kind of like maybe things that were talked about and planned at the beginning of the week will happen on Friday. So yeah, I bet you they'll do like a candlelight vigil or something on Friday, or something with water even. Maybe something with release of, I don't know, boats on water or something. I don't know. No idea. Saturday. Now, so Saturday is similar to Friday, more of the same. Most likely, probably rather quiet weekend. This is kind of a random side note, but I had something about perhaps drug abuse scandals surfacing, or drug companies or pharmaceutical companies, something coming up over the weekend. I don't know. I was getting that from the Pisces stuff and just some of the things that are happening. Mercury does move into Sagittarius, so this is gearing up to join Saturn. So to me, this is going to be a weekend where it will be a quiet weekend, but I can see Mercury moving into Sagittarius, this being about leaders coming together to, again, have these talks. It's going to be quiet as far as events, but the talking with Mercury and Sagittarius is very off the cuff and very says what it thinks, you know, quite opinionated and can be a little over the top and can be a little bit like, you know, TMI, big time. It's like a lot of talking and not always saying much, like I was saying earlier, or being pedantic, like teaching, etc. So the politicians this weekend might be gearing up for a busy week the following week with all the things I'm sure that they have to tell us about. So anyway, that's kind of my take on this week. I hope that was helpful. And I know I talked a lot about current events, but you can always apply the current event information to your personal life. You just, like I said, as without, so within. So just think about how these would be affecting the public, and then think about your own life. How is this reflected in your emotional state or things you're getting done this week? Like I said, you know, this is not a super busy week as far as getting a lot of things done, especially if they're not something that you emotionally feel motivated to get done. There's definitely an element of the moon and emotionally needing to feel like what you're doing is something you're passionate about, or it's means something to you. That things that you take action on this week will need to have a certain amount of meaning for you. And I would not be surprised. It's a great time with that Mars and Libra to collaborate with other people and to come together with other people. So if you have an opportunity to do any kind of collaborating this week, this would be the time to jump on that. And you'll probably be guided from elsewhere. You know what I mean? It's kind of with all this the Pisces energy that's happening, or whatever, I hate that word, not energy, the Pisces that we're seeing on Neptune going direct, you might be sort of guided by the finger of God, so to speak, a little bit. So anyway, hope you have a great week, and let me know if any of this forecast rings true for you. Have a good one. Okay, bye-bye.